We have the LGN Quad 606 clone here on our test bench today. We are going to do this test similar to the one we did to this Quad 707 clone here, so we can compare the results. So we're going to do this test 8 ohms with three different voltages, 30, 40, and 50 volts at 8 ohms. And we're going to check if the amplifier can do 0.01% THD or the lowest it can do. If it cannot do this 0.01%, and then we're going to do 0.1 and 1%, and we're going to do the same with the 4 ohms load, so we can compare it with the Quad 707 clone to this board here. So first we're going to do the 0.01% THD. If the amp can do it, if not, then we're going to settle for the maximum power output of the amp at its lowest THD. So our power supply is set to 30 volts. We have another power supply here. It's powering this fan here to help hold the heatsink. So currently this is our output, 44.8 volts peak to peak. Let's see if the amp can do 0.01. So we're here at 0.1, so that is 0.1, and 0.01 should be here. Okay, let's adjust the input to the amp. Okay, so the THD is increasing. So looks like this is the lowest THD the amp can do. That's around 0.06%. And this is our output in peak to peak volts, around 44.8 volts peak to peak. Okay, so this is our results. So the amplifier cannot do 0.01%, and the maximum power output to the amp with least minimum distortion is 0.06%. So now we're going to do 0.1%. So we are at the 0.1%, so we want full scale here on our THD meter. Okay, so that is full scale. Let's check the output of the amp. Okay, so that is the output of the amp, 52 volts peak to peak at 0.1% THD. Okay, so next is 1% THD. So we're going to switch here, 1%. I'm going to increase the input to the amp. Okay, so that is approximately 1% THD. Let's look at the output of the amp. Okay, 54.4 volts peak to peak. There's about approximately 2 volts peak to peak difference from 0.1 to 1%. And at 1% THD, we can clearly see that the positive peak of our signal here, it's clipping here. You can see the top of the signal, it's flat. So that is 54.4 volts peak to peak. So next is 40 volts. I need to set the power supply to 40 volts. First I'm going to set the input to the amp to 0. Okay, so I already adjust that one. So I need this at 40 volts. Okay. Okay, so that is 40 volts. That's our current limit here. We have a current limit of 3 amperes. Let's set this to 5 amps. So our power supply is now set to dual 40 volts. So I'm going to repeat this test here. 0.01% or the lowest THD the amp can do. So we are at 0.1%. At 40 volts, it is actually a little bit lower. It's around 0.054% something. Okay, let's check out the output of the amp. So around 60 volts peak to peak. Okay, so this is our result, around 0.052%, 0.05, 60 volts peak to peak. Now we're going to do 0.1%. 0.1%, we want full scale here. Okay, so that is about 0.1%. Let's check the output of the amp. Okay, so that's about 72.8 volts peak to peak. Next is 1% HD. Okay, so that is 1% HD. So the output of the amp is 75.2 volts peak to peak. You can also see that the top of the signal is flat here, so it's clipping at 1% HD. The bottom side of the signal is not clipping, the top one is clipping. Okay, so we're done with the 40 volts. We're going to do the 50 volts. So I'm going to set the voltage to 50 volts. Okay, so that is 50 volts. So first is 0.01% or the lowest. So it looks like that is the maximum power output of the amp with the lowest distortion or THD, around 0.032%. And the maximum output is around 73.6 volts peak to peak. Next is 0.1%. The adjustment knob is very sensitive, just a little movement, and it has a very large effect on the output of the amp. Okay, so that is the best I could adjust the input to the amp. That is 0.1% THD, and our output is pretty stable at 92 volts peak to peak. Next is 1%. Okay, so that is approximately 1% THD. Let's look at our output. 94.4 volts peak to peak. As you can see, the top signal is clipping. 94.4 volts peak to peak. Okay, so this is our results. 1%, 94.4 volts peak to peak. We're going to complete the power output of this later in RMS. I will be back after I change the dummy load to 4 ohms. Currently, this is our dummy load here, 8 ohms. I'm going to change it to this one here. Now switch our dummy load to 4 ohms. The 4 ohms dummy load is now connected. Let's turn on our power supply. Okay, so our power supply is already set to 50 volts. So we're going to start here, 50 volts, 0.01%, or the lowest THD the amp can do. Let's wait for the needle to stabilize. Okay, so that's about 0.04%. Let's see if we can lower it more. And so that is the best the amplifier can do, 0.04%. Let's look at the output. This is 4 ohms load, 56.8 volts peak to peak. Okay, so the amp cannot do 0.01. The least distortion you can do is 0.04% with 56.8 volts peak to peak output. Now we're going to do 0.1. Let's see what the amp can do at 0.1% THD. Okay, so it looks like that is the best we can do. That is the 0.3. So that is 0.1%. And that is 0.1%. And the output is 88.8 volts peak to peak. So this is our output at 0.1%, 88.8 volts peak to peak. Now we're going to do 1%. That is approximately 1%, and our output is 90.4 volts peak to peak. Next is 40 volts. So that is 30 volts. I'm going to do 0.01% or the least minimum distortion. Okay, so that is the least minimum distortion the amp can do, 0.06%. 52.8 volts peak to peak. Next is 0.1%. You want full scale here. Let's look at the output of the amp. When the needle is here, that's around 0.08. It's around 68 volts peak to peak. And so when the needle is, that's actually around 0.15% THD. It's about approximately 3 volts peak to peak difference. So 70.4 volts peak to peak. And that is the best I could adjust this analog potentiometer of the output of the oscillator here. Still 70.4. So our output is 70.4 volts peak to peak at 0.1% THD. Next is 1% THD. Okay, so that is the best I could do for 1% here. Okay, at 1% range. So that is approximately 1% THD. Let's check our output. So this is our output, 72 volts peak to peak. Clipping at the top. Next is 30 volts power supply. So we're going to set our power supply to 30 volts. Okay, so that is 30 volts. I'm going to do the least minimum distortion first. So that is the least minimum distortion, 0.05%. Our output is 40 volts peak to peak. Next, 0.1%. So we want full scale here for 0.1. So that is approximately 0.1%. Our output is 50.4 volts peak to peak. Next is 1%. Okay, so that is 1% HD. Or at the 1% range. And that is full scale. Our output is 52 volts peak to peak. So this is our results. 4 ohms, 30 volts power supply, 52 volts peak to peak, 1% HD. I'll be back after I complete all of this.